forbade me to ever become a ducktail, or even to associate with ducktails. I did not know what ducktails were, and when I asked him, he said that they are criminals on motorbikes, have oily hair, and that they wear denims, leather jackets, and are tattooed. Now, more than half a century later, I see that most dictionaries refer to ducktails as being a hairstyle, but the Dictionary of South African English describes it a little different. During the 1950s and 1960s, a young white male, often a member of a gang, who sported a ducktail hairstyle and adopted a characteristic style of dress, usually a leather jacket, narrow trousers, and pointed shoes. In those days, people were terrified of the Hells Angels as they were considered to be the ultimate ducktails. So it seems that my father might have been right about the lifestyle of the ducktails, but was he right about their general appearance? Do tattoos, wearing denims, and a leather jacket mean that you are a criminal? Today, just about everybody wears denims, and leather jackets can be very stylish and are sometimes seen as a sign of affluence. To me, it seems like most of the younger generations have tattoos. Not the old-style tattoos of a heart with the word mother in it, but tattoos that are often very intricate and colorful, sometimes covering large parts of the body. Not many of these people are criminals, however. The idiom, "don't judge a book by its cover," means that the quality or character of someone or something cannot be judged by just looking at them. You can also say that beauty is only skin deep, or that all is not gold that glitters. In other words, you cannot judge a person to be a criminal or not just by looking at what the person's physical characteristics are or by what that person wears. Or can you? The science of reading personality characteristics into facial features, called physiognomy, traces its practice back some 3,000 years ago to the Greek philosopher Homer, when he attributed some very unflattering physical characteristics to a Greek called Thersites. In the Greek culture, it was believed that the mind and the body are interconnected, that a sound mind went together with a sound body, and a twisted mind resided in a deformed body. In medieval Europe, ecclesiastical edicts interpreted large warts and moles on the skin as physical signs of where the devil entered the soul of a criminal or an heretic. In 1876, an Italian, Cesare Lombroso, published a famous study called Criminal Man. Herein he lists some physical features that were supposedly associated with criminal behavior. These included asymmetrical faces, sloping foreheads, large jaws or receding chins, long arms, short legs, excessive body hair or wrinkles, and extra fingers or toes or nipples. To us it may now seem ridiculous to judge a person by facial features alone, but physiognomy was extremely popular throughout history and well into Victorian times, probably because it feels intuitively right. During the 20th century, however, there was an outcry against the use of determining a person's criminality by applying the principles of physiognomy. It was felt that the physical attractive people were less likely to be charged for crimes committed, while people that were less attractive were likelier to be charged and would receive more severe sentences than the beauties. This beauty bias meant that the less attractive people were often discriminated against. People of a different ethnicity or religion, or simply a different country from that of the observer, are also likelier to be identified as less attractive, which then leads to things like racism. So sometime during the mid-20th century, physiognomy was discarded as not being scientifically accurate and highly discriminatory. Although the popularity of physiognomy waned, it did not mean that it was dead and buried. In 1973, two faculty members of the Cornell University in New York conducted a study where they randomly scrambled 159 photographs of young men incarcerated in juvenile reformatories with 134 photographs of male high school seniors, and then asked sophomores in psychology courses to rate the facial attractiveness of these youths. Significantly more high school seniors were judged to be attractive than males from the reformatories. In 2011, these two faculty members and a colleague did a similar study using photos, but if deemed to be the photo of a criminal, the students were asked to also guess what kind of criminal act the person was guilty of. I quote, "The main finding from this study was that the participants rated convicted murderers, rapists, thieves, and forgers as more likely to have committed crimes than non-criminals, and they were able to do so without being given any information other than static cropped images of their faces. These results could not be attributed to differences in attractiveness, race, gender, age, facial hair, hairstyle, or photo quality between these groups." Unquote. However, the participants were unable to discriminate between violent and non-violent criminals, and between the specific crimes committed by these individuals. Female participants had particular difficulty identifying rapists, rating rapists significantly less likely to commit rape than the other criminals. It is possible that rapists appear more innocent and are therefore able to gain access to unsuspecting victims. So, recent research hints that the folk wisdom dating back to the ancient Greeks may have some basis in reality. After all, physical appearance is related to self-worth and behavior. As the adage goes, pretty is as pretty does. When it comes to criminal behavior, the opposite may be true as well. The assumption of physical appearance as moral indicator still lives on. We are still judging people by their looks, even though physiognomy has no real basis in modern times. About a decade ago, I had an interesting chat on this subject with a prison psychologist. He said that over recent years, a number of studies were conducted in an attempt to determine if there are any physical characteristics shared by inmates, but that nothing conclusive were found. Facial traits like broad or narrow foreheads, eyes too close or too far apart, round or pointy noses, etc. were tested, but no pattern has emerged. The closest to a common denominator, he said with a sly look at my own cheeks and chin, was that a large number of inmates sport beards. Please be so kind as to comment below, subscribe to the channel, and if you like the video, like it and share it.